Welcome to Downshift JR, everyone. We're here with the new generation Kia Niro. However, it's not the hybrid, it's not the PHEV, this is the full EV and in the Wave trim. It's the most expensive one that you can get. 253 miles of range, 201 horsepower, and it looks, pretty good. What do you think?
I think it looks great. Price is around $45,000 with the Wave trim, right?
Yes. So this is going to be a bit smaller than a Model Y, but it's also a lot cheaper than a Model Y. So base for base, EV Niro, EV Model 3, base for base, about $40,000. Of course, you can option up your Model 3 to be quite more expensive, but this is just front wheel drive. But let's talk about the way that this thing looks. It's got a really nice kind of pearled effect white paint. This is what I call Stormtrooper spec, and not like the OG series, not the OG trilogy, but like the new Disney series. That's a whole bunch of shit. This is completely fake, of course. This is where you plug in, right on the front of your front fascia. I like that it is in the middle, though.
I
love it,
your charging is on the left or the right if you pull in.
Yes, absolutely. We had the Hyundai version of this, which was the Kona EV last year. It also plugged in. It was a little offset over here, but I like this here in the middle. And then you've got independent, I guess it's not even independent, because a lot of times you see the Hyundais with like the running light here and then the projector down here. It's all in here. I like this bit here. This is your running light.
Yeah, the daytime
and it, of course, goes amber for your turn signal.
I think that overall this design is a lot more aggressive and modernized compared to the previous generation. I think it looks really good.
100%.
They did a good job.
100%. You do have a little bit of cooling up here, so you've got open, but that's the only open bit there, and of course for your radar cruise. And then this is like your front splitter, right? And it kind of comes around into your wheel arch, side skirt, and then it brakes here for some reason. But then you've got more. You've got more cladding here. So I don't know why they've not continued it there, but I don't mind it. I think it looks good. Around the side here, you do have 17-inch wheels. They're kind of blocky style, again, to keep the aero nice and smooth across the body. I think it looks good. What do you think?
I think it looks good too. Obviously, they do that for aerodynamics, try and increase the range. I think that this looks better than the Kona EV, that is for sure.
100%, yeah, absolutely. I do like that they've kind of mirrored the geometric look of the front headlight into the turn signal here on your wing mirror. That's kind of nice. Yep. And then you've got black roof rails, you've got sunroof. This is exclusive to the Wave trim.
No pano.
No pano, but you know, this is a
functional
subcompact.
Aero?
Yes, we're talking about flying buttresses here. It's a Ford GT basically.
Reminds me of like the R8 too, right?
Yeah, it's very cool. So when you saw the press video, photos of this car come out, every one of them had this side blade here, right? You can only get it in the Wave trim, and you can only get it with the pearl white paint now for 2023. So this is the only way that you can get it. All the other ones will be body colored. So it'll be like, you can have just white if you want, but this is the only way that you can get the gray side blade.
It's also optional. You don't like.
Right, you pay more for it.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like $200. It's nothing crazy.
And then this is the Kiwi Boomerang, right? This is your LED tail light. The rest of the back end is pretty subtle. I mean, you've got your third brake light all the way across here, but there's really nothing going on here except for the Niro badge. And then the silver lower diffuser. And then again, mirrored headlight running light detail here. And this is your reverse light and your blinker as well.
Yeah, your turn signals are in your lower bumper.
Yes, we've talked about that in different videos.
Yep.
Not huge fans, but we'll check out the trunk here. Power operated liftgate, which is not bad for something of this class. And then you've got a reasonable sized trunk. It's smaller than like a Mazda CX-5, it's smaller than the EV6, but it is still absolutely usable. Seats fold 60/40. Let's get Polo inside before he freezes.
Now, we're in the back seats. Pretty cool design here. You have this vegan leather two-tone, and we actually have heated seats back here in the Wave trim, which is really nice to have for your backseat passengers. In terms of room, I mean, it's a little bit cramped, but like honestly nothing, like my head has plenty of room. They have a cutout here, and then my feet, if I go to the side, I'm okay. It's obviously not as much room as like the EV6 or the Ioniq 5, but I think it's enough.
Good enough, yeah.
Cool USB-C chargers right here. I like how they integrate it into the seat versus down here. It gives you more cord length to play with and use.
Not kicking your charger, which is nice.
Yeah. So we'll hop into the front seat. Okay, and in the inside, in the interior, before I forget, okay, lane change function, great, thank you. We'll do that later.
Lane change is important when you're in park.
It is. Before I forget, so they pride themselves on basically all the materials in the interior are either recycled or sustainable. So you obviously have your vegan leather. I think like some part of maybe the head roof is made out of recycled water bottles. So they really try to make this thing as sustainable as possible, which is great to see. So inside,
Decline.
Sorry, Sadie.
She's gonna be mad.
She is going to be bad. So the Wave trim that we're in here, some of the features that you get on the interior that don't come with the wind trim are like the heated seats, cooled seats, and you also have a heated steering wheel, which are nice. Interesting that these have individual buttons, but your HVAC controls you need to flip with the radio controls.
Oh,
so
I hate that. That's the worst thing ever.
Honestly, I've gotten used to it. Like as a driver, I think you can just use your control to control the stereo and the volume right here, and then you just keep this on HVAC. So I mean, I think, you know, after a while you would get used to it. The gear selector is pretty interesting. It's not like an actual, it doesn't actually move. You just kind of point it and then it centers back. You have a digital display up here. I wish it was a bit more customizable. It does show you like some pretty good information. I'm on my driver assist features right now, so it'll actually show you other blobs as cars when you're doing the lane keep assist and cruise control, and then it also changes kind of depending on what drive mode you're in. So there's 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal, and Sport, and they actually do a pretty good job of making a big difference when you're behind the wheel, but we'll talk about that during the driving portion. Here you got some pretty decent room. I think this is kind of cool. If you put these cup holders away, you actually have a pretty good amount of room here, and then if you were to put a drink here, you just push this button and it'll like close up the cup. So that's kind of cool. This is a pretty small center console, though, I will admit. But yeah, it's comfortable in here. It's got all the amenities you could possibly want. I think the driver assist feature is good. This is pretty good. This has been around for a few years now, this new generation that Kia's used for their infotainment system. And I really like the ambient lighting right here. It's kind of interesting. It's really only in one spot, and it's not that big of an area. But you have, I believe it's 64 different colors that you can choose from, which
Crayola
is
64.
kind of cool.
Which is the pack that gets you the crayon sharpener.
Yeah, that's important.
That's how you knew you were flexing on the poor kids when you had the crayon sharpener.
Wow.
Yeah, shall we go for a drive?
Yes.
All right. Good.
That's not a sound you want to hear.
Hold on. This is good because now we can pin it through these incredibly wealthy people's cul-de-sac, test the handling figures. Hey,
they're going to hate how loud this exhaust is.
It's so loud, mate. Property values are dropping by the second, by the litre of fuel. Right, okay. We're going to go right. Okay, so we're going to flick it into sport. So I do traction off. Okay. Kia Niro, going to pin it here. Still no wheel spin like you would have got in the Kona EV.
It honestly...
Hold on. Wait. 60.
Yeah, it was about 7 seconds.
It's a bit.
I feel like this does not feel like a conventional EV in the fact that the torque doesn't smack you in the face. I feel like if you took someone and you put, Bose earphones on them, they wouldn't really be able to tell that this was an EV by the launch. I feel like most EVs, you can tell that it is an EV based on the launch.
It's very tame.
Yes,
it's very much more tuned to be like a commuter car, very smooth. The suspension is tuned that way. It's very soft. It is very, genuinely comfortable. You've got your heated seat here and heated steering wheel on. So it is just a nice thing to get on with. You've got nice adaptive cruise suite and everything here. It's easy to soak up miles, but it by no means is a sporting car.
Correct.
Right, and then we've talked about what, 200 horsepower,
201, yeah.
So it's not a huge number,
no.
And we're used to seeing like massive horsepower figures dominating headlines for EVs. That's not what you're getting here. But you think about the Golf GTI, world's benchmark sports hot hatch rather, that 10 years ago had 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
So it's not a far cry. It's got enough power, I would say.
I think so too.
I will say though, in eco mode, if you're at like an intersection and you need to pull out quickly, you might not want to be in eco mode for that because it is quite lazy to pull out. But in sports mode, it's fine. In normal mode, it's fine.
I feel like the drive modes actually make a pretty big difference in how this car responds to the throttle, as it should. But I feel like in this specifically, it's amplified.
Yes, absolutely. I can tell distinctly what mode I'm in just by how the throttle is responding. So I know that I'm in eco mode now. I can dial in some regen. I never need to touch the brake. My pedal is on. It's stupid though, so I want it off. And then I'll get back on the power.
And I mean, I think this thing handles really well. You do hear a little bit of road noise and things like that, but yeah, the ride is really nice, and the seats are very comfortable as well. I think overall, it's for the price point. I think this thing makes a lot of sense as a budgetary EV. your dollar to mile ratio and your dollar to feature ratio, I think, is there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think you bring up. So it's 253 miles of range, right? It's not. It doesn't charge as fast as like a Model 3 or like the Ioniq 5 or the EV6, but you get over 250 miles of range, which is what you would get in an all-wheel drive version of like an EV6 or an Ioniq 5. And you get heated seat, you get heated steering wheel, you get all of the kit, right, for $45,000 about. So, you know, how much money are you going to have to spend on a comparable Tesla to get all those features? Now, granted, it's rear-wheel drive platform or all-wheel drive. This is front-wheel exclusive.
Yeah,
but you've got sustainable materials on here.
Yeah, to get to just a base Tesla Model 3 right now is about $46,000. So if you want the fully autonomous, that's another additional $15,000. I think that this will probably do better in Midwest markets since it is front-wheel drive. I think more people would rather have a front-wheel drive vehicle in the winters that we experience here versus a rear-wheel drive car. This also has DC charging, which gets you from
10 to 80 in about 45 minutes,
right,
I think.
Yep. So
yeah, it's something. It's not as fast as the 18 minutes that you would get in like an EV6 or an Ioniq 5. But this thing, I will say, has one nice feature that neither of those cars have, and it's I've got regen completely turned off here, right? And I'm gonna get on the brake and it will charge. So it will use the regen brakes without having to be at all with regen dialed on, which I struggled with on the Ioniq 5 because I really don't like to have the regen on. I think it like dulls the throttle response quite a bit and it just feels a little unnatural past like 1. But this feels nice. I mean, it's got a nice bit of roll, but it is comfortable. But I like this thing. Overall, I like it a lot.
I do too. I think the price point makes sense.
Absolutely. Anything else before final thoughts?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think this is a great alternative to like a Tesla Model 3. It's a better looking, more stylish version of a Kona EV, and this is probably what I would say is the best entry-level EV long range, because the Nissan Leaf, not enough range, Chevy Bolt, not really enough range. This is bigger, more practical, and you get plenty of range with lots of kit.
Yeah, I think that last bullet point right there, I would totally agree with. The amount of kit that you get for $45,000, you don't need to add any additional features. You have really good driver assist features, you have a really good warranty, you have all the amenities you could possibly want in the front and also in the back seat. And I think for that reason, it makes really good sense for the price point.
Absolutely. This has been the Kia Niro EV Wave trim. Thanks for watching.
See you later, guys.